Hello everyone, and thank you again for absolutely smashing that goal in our last episode. As promised, we have a very special vignette for you today featuring Kettle and Effie that we are calling The Knight and the Squire.
Oh, which one's which? I know.
This takes place very, very shortly upon the party arriving in the Spring Wild. Like I said, all you saw upon stepping into this new realm was a blinding white light all around you, and the voice of some mysterious figure telling you that the show was about to begin. Shortly, though, your eyes adjust, as if you've just come out into a bright and brightly lit room after many days, many months in darkness, as that really was the Winter Wild that you just came from. But as you do, the ground, the environment around you populates rolling green hills, fully lit, colorful swoops of sun streaks and clouds dot the skies. You are very much in the Spring Wild. Now, as of right now, the party is going to be taking a sort of a one-day respite to rest, to recover. And it's during that period that we turn our focus for a moment to our knight and our squire as they...
You don't have to call me that.
You came up with the title.
Who? Oh, I'm leaking.
As they take this time, this short breath in an otherwise very fast-paced adventure for themselves. And I'd like to pass it off to you. Like I said, you find yourselves in camp on just the lower end of a hill chain in the Spring Wild, having just gotten back your spell slots, rested, took your long rest, healed up from the various encounters prior, and let's just kick it off there. What's happening?
Yeah, Kettle so far in the Winter Wilds had this sort of like crystallized armor, but being back in the spring, it's strangely melting and like rejuvenating him, and he hates every minute of it because his mission is to destroy this place.
Yeah.
But it is making him beautiful. It's sort of reflecting the surroundings in that his feet and legs start off as like a greenish turquoise that go up to the core of the blue, and then there's like a bloom of pink. So it's like all of the seasons that he's lived through come together in this like ultimate form of Kettle.
Very cool.
And yeah, he's dripping. Everything's melting.
Always wet.
Always wet.
Oh, Kettle, you're precipitating.
Well, yes.
Okay.
You know, sometimes that happens. I just need to work it off.
Yeah, it's getting on my book a little bit. Sorry. Okay, and she's like trying to like pat dry the pages
Squeezing
of her
the water.
spell book that was like accidentally placed next to him while they were resting. So she's like laying out pages to dry, because also a lot of the pages in her book are like not even connected to it. She has so many things shoved into it. It is such a like collection of everything she's ever seen at this point that she's like laying out pages to try and dry them a little bit.
I have a question. What is Effie's heart doing? What does it look like?
Effie's heart, since the equivalent of 2 episodes ago in the Winter Wilds, has been completely dim. You can see the like, it's almost more like a burn mark now singed into her clothing, where usually fire was kind of coming through it. It is just the outline of something that was scorched into her clothing in the shape of a heart.
Got it. I will say that like Kettle clocks this and says something along the lines of, well, while we're waiting for that to dry out, arm yourself, Squire! And he'll take a leap out into the field and take a defensive position. This is something that has happened before, and Effie has reacted in different ways each time.
Yes. And she recognizes your stance and goes, shit. Okay. Scrambles together the pages that are still dry onto her side and like rechains it to her hip belt. And she jumps back out with you and goes, okay. And you can tell it's like, physically she's doing it and she's trying really hard to get her mind and her heart in it as she like takes a like stance. This is her battle stance.
There's like a connection between their eyes though, even though looking through the fingers or something like that, that Kettle starts to do a sidestep and around that is sort of working into a rhythm that you can follow.
Yeah.
As if he's guiding you through these steps that we've gone through before that you may not be remembering. Sort of thing.
No, she absolutely, I think, kind of like instinctively takes over, and you see her kind of slowly starting to settle into it, maybe like fumbling on the first step and getting into the rhythm of it, of that kind of like circling motion with you, and her hands kind of fall from more of like a little more of like a spell casting stance and a little more confidence into her steps as she goes, okay. So...
And I attack.
And on that, I'd like to say let's roll initiative and see what happens here.
Okay, so I did roll a 1, but...
I got a nat 20!
Okay, but wait. Kettle has advantage on initiative
Let's go.
specifically, so please be better.
I think you might still be going second.
14. But at least it wasn't a 1.
At least it wasn't a 1.
It's a nat 20. I have a +6 to initiative, so
Dang.
that's a 26.
That's hilarious. Okay, well, Effie, it is your go first. And I will say, you notice something as you begin to prepare, noticing that you either, I mean, who's to say, you got the jump a little bit on Kettle, or Kettle is kind of letting things progress and seeing what move you choose to make first.
Hit me.
It could be any, either, or a combination of factors.
Uh-huh.
I'll say you do notice something, though, as you begin to ready yourself. Even just beyond the aesthetic changes in Kettle as he's entered this new realm, you pick up on something that it doesn't even seem like Kettle has picked up on quite yet. There's a way that he moves. There's a way that even the grass under his feet seems to give and shift and enable his shuffling of his feet. There's something that's very natural about him here, almost like the world is assisting him and he's connected to it. It's subtle, but you can't help with your just general observational capacity to notice there's something different.
Okay.
What do you choose to do first?
All of my spells are so cruel.
Kill the boy.
No!
No, because I don't just kill,
Right,
I
it's
torment.
torture.
Like all of Effie's abilities are like, I see all of your nightmares. Like,
Mindfuck the boy.
So with that in mind, seeing the way that you tapped into the spring, and I don't think it's even so much as Effie got the jump, as Effie knows you're about to attack and wants so badly to make you proud that every time she's hesitated. Every single time we've ever done this, you have gotten the first hit, and she is so like tense right now and defeated that she just
How could you tell?
strikes without thinking. I'm gonna pull up my character sheet on my phone because my iPad died while plugged in.
Oh no!
But I am going to use Synaptic Static once I find out what that does. Ooh, you're aiming for it.
Once I
I'm
read
gonna
this.
try.
But it's definitely not Effie coming in with like her strongest attack.
Sure.
It's definitely her just being like, I'm gonna show you that I will hit, but she still holds back because she
Soften
can't
the boy up.
help it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use that at the lowest level I can, which is 6th.
Mm.
Or no, 5th level.
Okay.
And Synaptic Static is a save. That is a I think that's hold on. Why do I not know what save this is? It's so much harder to read on mobile.
Save his intelligence 17.
There we go. It's int. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Make an intelligence
Not gonna go
save.
well. A 5 on the die.
Hey, maybe you have a huge modifier to your int.
Nope.
What's that?
At a certain point, the math isn't worth it.
Yeah, that's a -1, so it's a 4.
Okay,
Well
so
done.
that's oh, it's 8d6.
Woo! Let's go. But I also want to know what this looks like as Effie is casting it
I
onto.
want to get some flavor.
So that's 27 points of damage.
Okay.
And instead of striking at you, actually, she strikes at your feet because it's also like her being like, oh, "This is a friendly attack. How hard are we going here?"
Sure. Yeah, Kettle has started charging forward and shaped his hands into the axe as he's coming for you.
Yeah, so Synaptic Static, I think it almost kind of like buzzes into the grass around your feet a little bit. She aims down with it in like the softening of it all, but you can feel like it almost feels like the blades of grass themselves electrify a little bit and like burn the bottoms of your feet to try and like slow you down from running at her as well.
And it totally works. It trips Kettle's feet up as if they were like stuck magnetically to the ground for a second. And it'll roll into my thing, if that's okay.
Yes!
So Kettle seems to fall over and fully trip into the ground in front of Effie, and you see just dissolves completely, and Kettle uses Misty Step.
Oh.
And instantly transports himself behind Effie.
Which, frankly, Misty Step means so much more for you.
Yeah,
That's a real
it's an
cloud.
innate water tenacity, ability. And then manifests directly behind Effie.
Nothing personal, kid.
And then this is going to get a little dark.
Yes!
Yeah.
As an action, because you cast first,
Uh-huh.
Kettle goes, oh, we're playing like that, and puts his hands up and starts to create water inside Effie's lungs.
Yes! I'm like, are we going Legend of Korra with this?
Yeah.
Like, okay, great.
Almost blood bent.
30-foot cubes. So how big are those lungs?
Probably not for 30 foot.
no.
I'm not quite sure. I've never measured.
Yeah. So this is a new trick that Kettle is trying out.
Drowning Effie.
Okay.
New fear unlocked.
Directly behind her.
Incredible.
And so, great. So you're creating water in her lungs, and
Yes.
there's no built-in mechanic for that in terms of what
Uh-huh.
she would be doing save-wise or what have you,
No,
right?
yeah, so we're all winging it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'd love to say, I want to get your reaction,
Yeah.
but for right now, let's get a Constitution save, just to see how well you're faring.
I rolled a 6.
Do you have any bonus there?
I
or-
mean, I have some, but I don't think it's going to get me over whatever this is required of me. What's your,
That's a good question. Probably plus my...
because mine's 8.
Spellcast-
It's
yeah.
going to be higher than an 8.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
I'm going to say, just because you're actively drowning,
Uh-huh.
let's knock off 5 points of HP, because
That's
you're
fair.
not getting hurt that bad yet. It's
Yeah.
just starting to
It's
sink
very
in.
uncomfortable.
But I'm gonna say, unless you find a way to purge the water from you,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna have disadvantage on saves and attack rolls.
Okay.
Now that's only saves if you have, an effect coming at you. If you
Yep.
cast a spell on him that he has to save for,
That changes
there's
what I was
no,
gonna do.
yeah, there's no negative to that. It's
Uh-huh.
just when you have to actually focus on like resisting something or trying to be dexterous in something, that's
Yeah.
gonna be impeded by this.
Mm-hmm.
And is that your entire turn?
Yes.
Okay, let's.
Back to the top of the round.
What do you want to do,
Wow.
Effie?
Is that considered magic? I mean, you put
It is a
magical
spell.
water
Water,
in
yeah, for
there.
sure, for sure.
Okay. I think that the first thing Effie usually wants to do is protect herself.
Uh-huh.
And she starts kind of like choking on it and like almost like spitting up water
Yeah.
a little bit, feeling
Yeah.
like it looks like she has just come out of drowning.
Yeah.
And she like wipes a bit of the water away.
Meanwhile, Kai's looking over the ridge like, what the fuck?
They're at it again.
And
If I may, as you piece that together, I'd like to also offer to you, Kettle.
Yeah.
Just that as you cast that effect, again,
Yes.
it's subtle at first, but you're channeling your magic here. You're moving, you're misty stepping.
Yeah. He doesn't
You're-
often use the magic in
Yeah,
this way.
and you're also cluing into the fact that something feels different here.
Mhm.
You feel a little bit stronger.
empowered.
You feel more natural, more like yourself, and like it's effortless. Almost as if the world around you wants this for you
Right.
a little bit. But it's
Right.
it's subtle at first. And Effie, what would you like to do?
as she's like drowning, she goes to dispel the magic,
Mm-hmm.
and you see her kind of like turn inward to cast, kind of like almost like trying to reach over her body for her own
Clear.
like, lungs,
Yeah.
essentially. And then instead is going to kind of like pull magic out and cast Phantasmal Killer on you.
Okay.
She knows where you are now behind
Yeah,
her, I would assume,
directly.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Now Phantasmal Killer is a save.
Okay.
That is a. Why does none of this on mobile ever want to tell me what it is? That's a wisdom save. of
Wisdom
17.
of 17, so I have plus 0. So
Okay, let's see.
here we go. 10. I didn't see it coming.
Okay, so that's 60-10. We upgraded our damage die a little bit.
Woo!
I love how you two are perfectly able to like hard counter each other in
Yeah.
very specific ways.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna digital roll it. That's gonna take me forever otherwise.
Yeah. Now, a question.
Yeah.
Kettle does have opportunity attack. Does spellcasting in your world trigger that, or is it only moving out of the space?
I would say, for the purposes of this, moving out of the space is the primary thing because it's more of like a factor of distraction.
Exactly.
Is where is the person's mind going? Her mind is still focused on you.
Copy.
So I wouldn't say it's an opportunity to get a hit in necessarily.
But I'm watching.
So that's 29 points of damage.
I can take. Oh, no.
And
Hold on, there was 23 from before, and then 29.
yeah. So in that, what Phantasmal Killer does is pull your nightmares. and make them visible. So I think she again is recognizing that you're thriving in the spring.
Yeah.
And like she has that little bit of extra just like harshness to her right now out of like pain and grief and anger and heartbreak. That she kind of thoughtlessly reaches for your nightmares to try and break that connection that you have with the spring, to try and make you realize that you're benefiting from the spring a little bit.
Can I tell you what you see? Oh my god. Okay, so as you reach into the kettle was not expecting this. Like we've both been trying to surprise each other. That's what this exercise is all about. And you tap into something that Kettle didn't even realize. As the nightmare version of Kettle shows up, and it's like the perfect version of him. It's this water genasi that is like completely blue and clear and knows its purpose, and its name is Ketal. It's not Kettle. And directly next to them is Yasmin. It's the watery form of a healthy Yasmin, cared for, grown up, healthy, fighting alongside a knight and his squire. And this is something that can never be. And it breaks Kettle to his core.
Fuck yeah.
You see Effie, because she kind of like cast it out of her and she turned around to make eye contact with you once it hit. She was kind of like pulling it backwards since you'd been behind her, still choking.
Kettle had been in a ready stance, ready to chop down on you no matter what you did. That was the next thing, and is caught off guard by this look and spell.
She just looks at you and looks at it, and she like freezes, and you recognize a much more like Effie expression of like softness and sympathy staring back and forth between you and the vision.
As this vision appears and you can see that there's this moment between them, Kettle's eyes change in an instant and he rages. And that activates his wild surge. So I'm going to roll a
the water bubbles
8 and see what I get on this table. Oh, it's the 1 again. Shadowy tendrils lash around you. Each creature of your choice that can see within 30 feet of you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 1d12 necrotic damage.
I don't think that's gonna.
And what's the DC for the save there?
Let me double check.
What was your total
DC?
13.
Okay, that could pass.
DC 16.
Oh, okay, great. So no.
So what do I take?
D12 of damage, and then I gain D12 of temporary HP.
Ooh, 5.
9 points to you, 9 points to me.
All right, I'm gonna take my previous 5.
Yeah, this erupts out of Kettle's back. There is like, not only is he raging, pink steam starts to like shoot out of the top of his head.
A factory whistle.
100%, like diminishing his size a little bit, and also this shadowy water tendril like appears. There are several of them that shoot out from behind him and latch onto you, and there's this absorption that can take place. Necromantic energy seeps out of Effie and into Kettle, and he gains some of that size back from it.
You know, the real Eldritch horrors are the friends we made along
It's
the way.
true.
I have not dispelled the water in my lungs, so
I've
I'm going to
noticed.
assume that probably hits me again before I can dispel it. So I'll take that additional 5. And I will
Kettle's about halfway like damaged too, just to give you he's hurt.
And I'll say this is about the point where if you don't have a solution to the water by like the next round, the consequence will increase a little bit because now you're actually beginning to run out of air.
Yeah. So I am going to dispel the magic in my lungs.
Great.
I will use my turn for that.
Now, dispel magic, you can only cast that as a full action. Is that correct?
Yes, that is a full
Okay.
action.
Fair enough.
And that was cast at 2nd level.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
But then, do you have a bonus action you'd like to do as well?
I don't have any bonus actions. No.
Will hit.
I don't think I can hit for a bonus action.
For
I don't
you,
think
I'd
that's
allow
allowed.
it. If you just want to give him a little bab.
Oh, my nose!
He's bleeding. I thought we were just playing.
Where did blood come from?
Mom!
I think that Effie is so distracted still by what she saw, not thinking of what the nightmare would be, because she's never done this on somebody that she cared about. She's only ever done this in like this heat of battle and an enemy that was to protect people that she loved.
Yeah.
And having to see someone that she cares about's nightmare and knowing she like put that in front of him is definitely enough to make her like unable to attack this round. And she just pulls the water out of her lungs. And you can see, I think it is a little like waterbendery where she almost like
Yeah,
pulls it out of her mouth.
Oh.
And like drops it in front of you because she can't control water. It is literally just pulling the magic out in the same way that she was pulling magic from her before.
Yeah.
And it like splashes on the ground in front of her, and that's it for her turn.
I want to also point out that, and again, we're all talking just like surface level, light strokes here. As you engage in this magic in this place with Kettle, and you can't necessarily be sure why, but somewhere deep in your mind, Effie, you feel a little bit of LNA. And I'd say, for the most part, on a day-to-day basis, LNA's presence is not like an active part of your life necessarily. In fact, it's so minimal you thought she was only a memory and little else. But there's a little piece of her that seems like it's almost more aware, either in this place or in this situation, and it's perceiving something. It's touching upon something, but you couldn't say for sure what that was. But we do roll over to the next turn here.
Top of the round.
Kettle.
It's next turn.
What's happening? Yeah,
I attack.
That tracks.
Yeah, Kettle raging with these tendrils still sort of like gripping around, not to a mechanical effect, but it sort of targets you, and he forms his axe and swings, and there is like an actual rage that is seldom seen here, especially when we're just scrapping. Ooh, a 13 though.
Actually, what is my AC?
But you do have multi-attack.
I
right?
do. I'm going to be doing it again.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think a 13
my
will do it.
AC is 12.
Okay,
Hit me.
now the fun begins.
Okay, so
I am a wizard. I should not be this close to anybody.
I rolled a 1 on the damage die, so that's 3 total.
Okay.
And let me one more attack. Oh, I don't know. 10 doesn't
10
do
does not
it.
hit.
What is your total HP, Effie, if I may?
My total HP, my max HP is 80.
Okay, so you're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm about a quarter down.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
He swings and connects, but then like I think there is a hesitation as he connects and does some damage. There's like a recognition of the pain.
Effie, being terrified of sharp objects, loses track. And I know that it's something that we would have like talked about in this, and it's something that I think that like has been almost an exposure therapy of our training of like, you have to get over this. We cannot be out here fighting, and you run when you see something sharp. Yeah. But usually I think that Kettle does still, like, even through his harshness, approach that with like a caution
or sensitivity.
Yeah, like a sensitivity to that. And the lack of that definitely breaks everything that she was feeling from the nightmare and activates her survival instincts. And I'm no longer at disadvantage here.
Hit me.
I'm going to cast Lightning Bolt and try to electrify your water.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh.
That's a dex save.
A dex save.
That's a dex save of 17.
Jeez. I have a +1 to my dex.
Okay.
That's the 12. Full demo.
The dice have not been kind.
No.
And I think that she also saw the like magical effect and doesn't quite understand your magic. Everything that Effie knows about magic is planned. Right. When she's going to do something, she's literally reading it. Yeah. There is no spontaneity to her magic, and she doesn't trust spontaneous magic. So it also activates a higher level of fear to go, oh, he's not in control of this.
And anything could happen.
Right. And she can trust Kettle to not kill her. She cannot trust that magic. Yeah. So I cast Lightning Bolt at 7th level.
Hell yeah!
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
Okay, Kettle has 83 hit points left. So, still more than you're starting.
I hate to do this to you, but I think I might say the lightning does a little extra damage to you.
So that's 42 points of damage.
And it doubled is 84, which is exactly 1 over Kettle's HP. That is incredible.
Effie would never strike that like a killing blow by any means.
Summon a full like.
I want a description. I want a word picture here of exactly what we see as Kettle is smited.
Kettle is not going to stop. Kettle is raging, coming at you, has already wounded you, and is like fully coming at you.
We're also just coming from the entire party's PvP, and she's like so lost in what the party dynamic is anymore, and how they trust each other, and like she never would have expected that from Kai and Rickard, and she's watching her friends fight, and now she's like not sure if it's real or not. She's like, oh, we didn't really talk about this beforehand. We're training, right? Like, we're training, right? And truly, it's this like primal fear
Yeah.
that activates the strongest point of Effie's magic. And she's doing like, you know the meme where you can see all the math in front of someone? And you can see
Calculations.
all
Beautiful
of the
minding
like
it.
calculations in front of her.
Notably not from the book, but she's figuring it out from
'cause
what
she's
learned.
studying your magic. She's studying the spring around her,
Yeah.
and she's trying to figure out where that came from. And she puts it all together, and she like reaches upwards because she's so like she's too close.
Mhm.
She doesn't like how close she is, so she pulls something from behind you after watching you strike her from behind.
Mhm.
And like learning from that tactic, she essentially like pulls lightning down from the sky into your back as she like backs up a little bit. And it's almost like there's this incredibly powerful attack happening, but she's like stumbling, shaking a little bit, backing away in fear. Even though something like very strong and powerful is happening, she's focused on you entirely. And the magic is just kind of happening from like her primal instincts.
You zap Kettle from behind, and there's this huge, powerful, loud bolt of energy. And you can see Kettle fully spread out as this energy courses through his watery body. And it accelerates that like raging process and sort of disintegrates all the way down to, you see this scared child that is just the core of Kettle. It's his inner child that is there and left in like the charred ground, passed out, completely unconscious.
Since that would drop initiative, I immediately use a life transference,
Yeah.
and I'm going to transfer like 40 of my hit points from me to you. I'm just going to cast it at the highest level I can. Since I'm out of, you know. So she pulls life from herself.
Amazing.
And immediately heals you
What
to
does
the
that
best of her
look
ability.
like?
Yeah.
In this moment, she like kneels down onto you, and I think that you can see a little bit of the color kind of draining from not only her skin, but the rainbow layers in her hair that are like braided in underneath, and you see the color drain a little bit and almost like move through her body as she like places a hand like on your like on your back where like the strike from the lightning was a little bit to try and fill you with color again.
Every like mineral that was in Kettle's body has sort of like coalesced into a gemstone on his back as it was struck by the lightning. And there's like a scar, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And she's like freaking out. And she's like, no, wake up. I'm sorry.
And Kettle does. There's, I know, the eyes open up on this child and they sort of reach over to you as you've transferred this life. And there is sort of like this growing, and Kettle looks at you with like understanding eyes and just says, I'm proud of you. You got me.
Are you okay?
Of course.
Okay. Hey, what, how did you do that? This is your place, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel stronger here than I did anywhere else. And I hate it.
I understand, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You get through the rage. You see me. You always have. And you see me, not the person I could be, or who other people want me to be, or who I was before.
I'm sorry that that's still your nightmare.
I'm sorry that it's also yours.
It's very strange to be made up of two people. You understand that better than most.
But we make up 4 minds.
Yeah, that's true.
And he reaches up to like get up.
I'll help you up a little bit, and Effie's like small, so it definitely like almost
We're
pulls
about
her
the same
down.
size at this point.
Effie's made of nothing.
Yeah.
Like, definitely like pulls forward a little bit, like, oh right, okay. That was just like training, right? Like that wasn't like we were just.
Kettle like leans on you for support as they're still sort of weak, and you can see that he sort of looks down at the heart, the singe marks, and said, I felt like we both needed to get this out.
Yeah, I really did.
I feel better now. I mean, better now than I did a few seconds ago.
Yeah. And she like kind of like checks out to see if the scar stays on your back at all. It's like, sorry about that.
No, I think it's kind of cool.
It does look kind of cool. I don't know how we're going to explain it to anybody. Everybody's really upset. I don't think that they'll notice.
Maybe.
I don't think they've noticed much of anything lately.
I see you. I've always seen you.
don't think I appreciate that enough. I'm very lucky to be your squire.
We'll see if you're still my squire. I mean, you took me out. I don't know what that means, but we'll see.
Did I get like an upgrade? Is there
We'll
like a title
see.
above it? I don't know. I was just wondering, is there like a title after squire?
Squire plus?
Okay, I think we could workshop it. Like
Assistant knight.
I like that. I could do assistant knight.
And I think as the mist settles, the claws
That's my body.
Oh, little of you is escaping. We should at some point probably talk about your magic.
Oh, I've never really considered it.
Because that was, you've let some of your look at, it's there.
Yeah, it feels stronger out here.
I'd like to teach you how to harness it.
I got you with the long thing, though.
You did, it was awful. That was maybe the worst thing I've ever felt other than the other times I died.
I don't have those, so. Oh.
And I think as you make your way slowly back to the camp, having traversed some distance to have room for this battle, as the
This
mist
completely singed field.
Yes, as the clods of earth return back to the ground, as the skies clear, the mist dissipates. And as you make your way back, you realize you've come just a little over the edge of this adjacent ridge from where you've been camping out. And you notice there's something just yonder that you hadn't clocked before, now as things begin to clear. A small house on the hill, a little chimney puffing smoke gently, shaded by trees overlooking a valley below. And from your angle, from your perspective, you actually can get a glimpse as you now make your way back to the camp of what is in that valley. And you realize you are looking at the Springwild Palace of Garland, not 5 miles from where you are currently camped. And you realize that very shortly you will be confronting the enemy you've been pursuing all along, but now hopefully stronger together.
We're gonna mess them up.
Yeah, we're gonna mess them up.
I don't have knuckles.
Just like,
It just sloops like Jell-O. And that is where we are ending for today. I would just like to turn everyone's attention. I don't know if the camera can even see it, but I've had a piece of paper right here for the entire vignette. I predicted who would win the duel between Effie and Kettle.
what did you draw on the front?
Hey! You did it.
I know Kettle's a strong dude, but I don't know what 9 kinds of hellish magic Effie is packing.
We found out.
I was casting 4th level until the last one.
Right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I was not coming in at my highest spells until the end either.
Right.
Thank you all so much for knocking out that goal. Tune in for our next episode as we're in spring now, baby, and things are about to heat up. Have a great time.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.